Hello and welcome to Talk of the Town. I would usually go straight to the Port Adelaide Premiership champion, Warren Tredrea.
Why not?
But, well, there's an issue that's emerged. Last week, there was a bet on between Sam McClure and Warren Tredrea that whoever won out of Port and Carlton would wear the opposition team's colours. It means Sam McClure, the chief footy reporter for the Nine Network, you should be wearing Port Adelaide colours, not Carlton caps.
What do you mean? The bet was that when the final siren went, whichever team was in front, the other had to wear opposition colours. All I know is that when the siren went on Sunday, I turned the TV off. I haven't looked at another TV screen since. Carlton were winning by 3 points. Everything was rosy, and Tredders is wearing nothing. So I think, if anything, Warren has gone against the bet, which is disappointing. Although I must say, Seb, I'm not surprised.
Well, you know what's really interesting, boys, is that the bet actually was who won the game, not what happened at the final.
That was my memory.
Yeah, that was the memory, but it doesn't surprise me, mate. He's got issues with Adelaide Crows. He's now got issues with Port Adelaide. Why even cross the border? Hey, you won't catch COVID. What else is there to talk about?
I can't believe he brought up the Crows stuff. I can't believe it.
Sam, you should know life sometimes is black, white, and sometimes it's shades of Robbie Gray, who won it for the Power with a beautiful kick after the siren. What a finish, Tredders.
Never in doubt, mate. It was actually, as soon as his ball got in his hands, I was like, he's going to kick this. And I'm dead set serious here because he had a sider about 5 minutes earlier. And we thought we'd give Carlton a chance to win. Dixon misses from the top of the square. Marshall misses one from almost on the line. Robbie Gray even decided, hang on, we've beaten up on these blokes for far too long. We'll give them a chance. And still they couldn't take the opportunity. So he goes, you know what, I'll bury it. I'll show them what it is to be the Iceman. Running through the veins, nailed it. Merry Christmas. Take that stupid hat off and say, sorry, Tredders, your team was too good.
Hey, Tredders, this is not a loaded question at all because I don't know the answer. Did you have times where you could win the game after the siren? Because I was speaking to Matty Lloyd on radio earlier in the week, and he actually had two opportunities, one to win the game and one to draw the game, and missed them both. And for a guy that, is one of the greatest forwards of all time, he still constantly thinks about the pressure of a kick like that. How many times, if any, did you have that in your career?
Not after the siren. I had one a couple with about 30 seconds to go. And unlike me, I normally shank it, but I actually kicked both of them. So I was quite happy. But if you need I know Richmond's a wonderful powerhouse of a club, but when they're pretty average, I did have a decent day out. You can go and Google it. Go and check it out. It might make your afternoon.
How many that day, Tredders? Bag of how many?
Oh, I think it was 7.
Okay.
Kicked the winning goal, went behind the play, took the winning mark, saving mark, and I did it all on one leg, mate. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Not that I'm letting past history go or anything about it, but what an opportunity to bring it back up again.
Actually, can I jump in? Because maybe this is where this was going, but Tredders, there is quite a famous story from amateur football of the great S. McClure after the siren, was it, Sammy, in a grand final?
Oh, God, I've seen him kick 2. It must have been ugly.
I have no idea how you have found that out, Seb.
Go for it, mate.
And for the record, I don't even know about it either, so it's not even a stitch-up. Just tell us how good you were. Take the opportunity.
No, tell us, old Xavier, was it not?
It was an old Zabs game in the under-19s, actually.
You're one of them. Yep.
I'd had an absolute stinker all day playing out of full forward and not got near it. And we were 6 goals up at three-quarter time, and they kicked 8 goals in a row. And there was 2 minutes left. I think we got one back, and then 30 seconds left. I just into the wind and set shot, and it sailed through, and the siren went, and I didn't pay for a beer for about a fortnight. So it's a good memory.
Oh, dear. Well, I was a nuggety back flanker with no good stories to tell. So let's move right along from our...
Sorry. Did you say something? You're actually a forward. I would have picked you as an outside scared wingman.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Outside, petrified wingman that was playing full forward all year because he was injured.
Jeez, he's got plenty of grunt with the old pen, though, hasn't he? Hey.
That's it. It's never pick a fight with a journalist. They buy ink.
Hide behind a piece of paper.
Oh, Warren. Mate, why don't you just make a couple more calls after we go?
I can, mate, but my mate won't go back to London and I haven't kicked 6, so that's all I need to do. All right?
He's,
Gee,
at some stage, we better talk some current AFL football.
Yeah.
Back on track.
We won't start now because we've got to talk about what was the biggest story in South Australia over the past 48 hours.
Oh, no.
The price of chips came down at the Adelaide Oval, which was a great result, $5.90 to $5.40 a bucket.
Oh.
But as you're about to see, when the fans rolled up, the lid was closed on the packet and there were fewer chips to go round.
Fans at last night's Crows-Saints clash have been left feeling a tad salty, claiming hot chip servings weren't up to scratch. Adelaide Oval management admitting closed boxes mandated by COVID-19 precautions meant less chips.
Talk about rubbing salt into the wound, but at least, unlike those virus-riddled Victorians, we can actually go to the footy.
Have a look at that 9 News Adelaide report, Sam. Virus-ridden Victorians.
Yeah, it just sounds like they've got a chip on their shoulder, to be honest.
Hey.
I can't understand it. And there's, I mean, clearly Warren, tackling all the big issues there in that great state of yours.
It had nothing to do with me. Trust me, I would rather more chips than less chips, and I'd rather bloody Matani chicken sole and sauce on top. But how is it? They make this great Greek stand, as they say. They got fried, the old SMA. You like that one? And quite literally, they did it on the cost. Oh, the cost has come down. Beer has come down. And great, because let's say footy is bloody expensive for fans. If you want to go and get a pie and a pasty, it costs you about $95. Don't worry about car parking, and they probably charge you to go to the toilet as well. They bring it down, and all what? They bring down the size of the buckets. Of course, it's bloody cheaper. Step up.
It's good business, isn't it? I got a little bone to pick with the magnificent journalist that put that together, Lucy Hitton from 9 News Adelaide. She just happens to be a Victorian.
And a D supporter.
Why she's sinking the boots into her fellow Victorians, I'll never know. Anyway, footy mania is about to run wild across Australia, Sam McClure. Take us through it. 33 matches in 20 days.
Yeah, it's going to be a festival of footy, isn't it? I can't believe that we're going to have one round run from Monday to Friday like it's an average work week or a school week. It's going to be exciting, but there's going to be back-to-back 4-day breaks for some teams. I think you've got the stats in front of you, Seb. Geelong and Collingwood. I think Geelong have 4 games in 14 days. Collingwood might be 4 games in 13 days. Is that right?
Correct.
Yep. So it's going to be a real challenge, Treaders, I reckon, for the high performance teams. What do you do, Treaders, if you've got 5 or 6 sore boys? Do you try to spread them out and manage them over the course of the 4 rounds, or do you pick one game that you think you're a certainty and manage 6 or 7 at once, a la Fremantle in round 22 all those years ago?
Well, I think it's a combination of both. And I think what they would be sitting down doing is the coaches with their high performance department right now, with their playing lists and going, for example, Port Adelaide, Scott Lycett's hurt his PCL on his knee. Ladham's come in, done really well. If Port Adelaide's next game, they've got to go against Kilda, but the next game is a quick turnaround, then you'd go, oh, maybe he misses 2 weeks, maybe it comes back to 1. So realistically, it's going to be a big judgment, age, how long they can go. But even a guy, an A-grade superstar like Travis Spoke, should have probably been the All-Australian team last year. He had that good a season, winning his 2nd or 3rd best and fairest report. He's going to have to be managed, because you're not going to be able to find players bounce up consistently on 4 or 5 day breaks, because if you do, then you're going to run the risk of going into games heavily fatigued. Soft tissue is going to go through the roof. So it's going to be a big judgment. It'll be potentially on workload and how much you want them to play. But also bear in mind, there's a situation where you might come up against a softer opponent or a team that's struggling. That's an opportunity, maybe rest a few. But it's going to be that close to who actually gets enough wins to make the finals. It might come down to how well they manage this period of time, as to say who gets there come finals time in 2 months' time.
Treaders, can I just ask you on that? There seems to be a philosophy in footy, and only the people who play know this, that almost everyone plays injured to a certain extent, and some are able to play more injured than others. How true is that, and how much are teams going to be benefited by the warriors of the game who play more injured more often than some others do?
Oh, that's absolutely the case. You never go into a game feeling 100%. I know in my career over 14 years, the ones I went in worried because I'm like, what's wrong? I haven't got a niggle. I'm not carrying something. And when you say a niggle, it could be, it's sore shoulder. It could be a bit of a tight calf. It could be a lower back issue, a minor spasm, those sorts of things. So as soon as you cross the white line, that's what footballers always say. It is fair game and you're there to perform. And if you can't perform, as we saw a few weeks ago, Taylor Walker was carrying a knee injury. Everyone was saying, no, his form's okay. He hasn't gone that bad. Well, his form was clearly dictated off the back of not being able to do the work. I think the ability to mentally test as opposed to physically is going to be the difference too. If you can stay mentally fresh, when you do, you find a way to get through. But if the mental side starts to break down off the back of being sore, that's where you're going to have those issues. So I actually think the younger players, the ones who've been in the system a few years, are going to far benefit more so than the kids who adjust in the system or the oldies. Because I look at a team, my old team in Port Adelaide, I can't see Robbie Gray, I can't see potentially Tom Jonas, in the past, Paddy Ryder at St Kilda, some older players being able to bounce back on short day breaks consistently. Whereas a team like St Kilda might go, hey, we'll play Marshall for as many games as we can and we'll pinch hit him and his minutes with Ryder to complement. So I think it's going to be a big discussion to sit down. There's going to be a preemptive discussion and then also a management discussion to say, how does our plans fit? Because other than this year, COVID 2020, clubs would generally put in those days break on 8 days notice, 5 days break anyway. So this is just going to magnify it to the nth degree.
Stick with you, Treaders. You mentioned St Kilda, and this is the other big talking point of the week. We go back to the holding the ball rule. Brett Ratton put this on the table, coach of the Saints after their 23-point win over the Crows. He said, we've got to be careful about getting to a situation where we have players hanging off, waiting for somebody else to take possession so they can ping them and get a free. Are we seeing that starting to edge in? Are we getting the balance right on holding the ball?
No, we're clearly... Seb, have not got the balance right, because remember, I love what Ratton said. He was so honest. He didn't disrespect the AFL. He didn't talk about the umpiring department as a negative context. So there's going to be no financial sanctions. But he was just honest and saying, we don't want to cut out the bloke who wins the footy. The bloke or the girl who wins the footy in AFLW is the person that makes the football their prerogative, and that's what the game is about, winning the ball, the pigskin. So the issue here I find is that Clarko put it on the agenda all those weeks ago was to say we had over 100 tackles and none were played with players who had prior opportunity. That is now what we saw on the weekend in the Adelaide game, on Monday night, was about players who didn't have prior opportunity. So the narrative has been flipped. And what people are saying Clarko said is not actually what's happening right now. Some of the decisions on the weekend were just baffling. Some of the shepherds off the ball, some of the players who quite literally picked the ball up, got tackled. Yes, you've had prior. No, you haven't. You've got to let people try and win the ball. And then if they try and take on the tackler or can't dispose of it correctly because of a tackle, then judge them. I think we've missed the mark and we've missed what Clarko said in the first place.
Well, somebody who didn't miss the mark, Sam, is a supporter of your club. As we move into the social club, one of our favourite segments, and we highlight somebody on social media who's given us something very special. And I'm actually not sure of this woman's name. I salute her wherever she is. She's become known as the Carlton Nan. And here was the final few moments of the Port Adelaide Carlton game as seen through the eyes of Carlton Nan.
That's what he's held on to. So he can kick it now. They're both played up. Hits the post, you silly.
He's got it. He's got it.
Oh, goodness me. Look, we've all been there, haven't we?
That was actually me. Yeah, that was actually me recreated on the couch on the week. No, I was actually, Treaders, in all seriousness, I was like you, but I was the other way in the terms of cynicism. As soon as Robbie Gray took the mark, I actually just walked to the kitchen and started making myself a cup of tea because I just knew he'd kick it. For the exact same reason that you said, because he had the cider and missed it. And it's just, he's just that sort of guy. He's a big moment player. He's one of my all-time favourite players. There's not many like him. What a moment it was. But watching that vision, it's hard not to laugh.
How many silent C-bombs did you drop as opposed to the public one she dropped?
The over-unders mark was probably 7 or 8. I would say.
How strong was more importantly, how strong was the cup of tea and how many sugars did you have? You would have lost it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that might have been something other than a cup of tea. It might have been something a little bit stiffer just to ease the pain.
It's been a few C-bombs around this week. I happened to see one on Foxtel last night, actually. Which
I thought that's what I saw.
Yes.
I wasn't expecting that, to be honest.
That was a non-flinch, keep rolling C-bomb. It didn't happen. Let's just keep talking. It didn't happen.
Unbelievable. Now, Sam, I've got a surprise for you in a second. But before we get to it, sure things for the week, gentlemen. There is
I'm getting in early. No, I'm getting in early.
Right, you go first.
I'm getting in early. I'm taking the Blues. We'll bounce back this week.
Good. Yes. All right.
Come on, you Blues.
Bombers. I'm taking the Bombers.
Oh, surprise.
And they're playing the Crows. So come on, Essendon. Sam, have you got one?
What's the leaderboard? Are you still throwing to yourself?
Flash him back up.
Like
there he is.
Yep.
Look,
Unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. I wonder where it'll be next week. He plays Adelaide.
Yeah, this is how we run things, mate. We've just, I've been grandstacking the leaderboard.
There's only 9 games. There's only 7 left, mate. Come on, pick one.
I picked the Brisbane Lions. Listen.
Okay.
Don't be so aggressive, mate. Let it go last Sunday. Let it go.
Oh, you can't.
It's gone.
Now, Sam, this is a very special treat. So if you're just going to lean in so you can hear what I've got to say. And our graphics department have done this. And as you can see now, they've fixed it. They've given you some Port Adelaide apparel as you should have had at the start of the program.
I think that's the first. That's the first debut of a redhead in a Port Adelaide jumper. I cannot remember anyone else. First up, well done.
Congratulations, Sam. That's a great compliment.
Yeah, well, it's the first time that we've learned a lot about the Port Adelaide Football Club in the last few days because I expected the phone to ring. We'll send you a jumper, we'll send you a hat. But obviously times are tough. During COVID, I thought they were one of the richer clubs, Treaders, but clearly struggling.
No, they're not.
Enough.
And they probably don't watch us.
I'm going to wind this up. Oh dear! The Port Adelaide Premiership champion Warren Tredrea. Thank you.
Can you Blues? Let's go.
The first red-headed Port Adelaide power player, and who did once win a game off his own boot after the siren. Sam McClure. Thank you.
Thanks, boys.
This has been Talk of the Town.